So this has been a three-way crossover that's been kind of kicking around in my head for a little bit, and I decided, you know what? I want to do this as a video. And that is, you can see, a three-way crossover between El Tigre, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and Zorro. So it's going to go in a pretty interesting direction. Trust me, you're not prepared for where this is going to go. So let's get started with the story. So the story is that Star and Marco are just chilling at the house, or just chilling at the Diaz's house, and they're flipping through channels when they come across a news broadcast of a new government organization meant to escort dangerous criminals out of the country and into other camps across the world. This group is called Inferno. No, I am not trying to be subtle. Thank you for asking. So this new group, this government task force, Inferno, is more or less, they're going around taking people, citizens, they're taking immigrants, they're taking people and making them just vanish or be transferred to another part of the world or taken to some prison camp. And the administration is just like, this will help purify the American bloodline and we will be stronger for it. And Star is like trying to wrap her head around the whole thing of like, wait a minute. So these people can just come and take you if they don't like you. And Marco's like, yeah. Or if you're not a citizen of the country. And she's like, that's bullshit. Isn't there like a court system or something? I'm not really like, my family comes from like a, monarchy, not a democracy. So you're going to have to fill something in. He's like, yeah, I know. But like this administration has just been, attacking people's rights. And she's like, well, time to go fight the government, time to go fight the autocracy. Come on, I'll get my wand. And Marco's like, no, Star, you can't do that. Like, you can't just go and fight an entire, government. They have an army, and what if they find out where you are, what you are? They'll experiment on you. They'll take the wand. They'll try to find a way to go to Muni and kill all of you. And she's like, so you want to do nothing? He's like, yes, no, I don't know, Star. Like, all I know is that we fight monsters all the time, but this is a government full of monsters that could hurt us. So, like, as long as my family's safe, it's okay. And Star's like, yeah, as long as your family's fine, that's great. But as the broadcast continues, that's when they hear another point of the bulletin. That being is that Inferno has come under siege by a superhero from Mexico. That being, El Tigre has crossed over from Miracle City in Mexico and is now in the United States waging a guerrilla war on Inferno. And he is not pulling punches. He is like putting these agents into like the ICU. Like, he is putting them in like some of them in the iron lung. And people are like, there's a lot of like controversy of like a Mexican superhero coming over from across the nation, putting himself into another country's business. Does he represent the country he comes from? Is that, is this even legal? And other people are like, yeah, he's doing something about it. Like, he's actually like saving people, and he's not even from this country. Like, he's trying to protect everyone. And yeah, he's fighting bullies. And keep in mind, Manny has never been like the best superhero. He's always been like on the side of, walking that line between light and darkness. So this El Tigre is just okay with like busting some people up, not killing them, but he is like, attacking Inferno agents, beating them to a bloody pulp, then saving the people they've incarcerated. He's even like been launching attacks on prison camps to free people. And he's got a growing movement around him. Now, the other thing is that White Pantera has no comment, but of course the administration's like, El Tigre is a terrorist. He's he's not a superhero, and we're considering this, since he's acting even though he's not acting on behalf of Mexico, we will be tariffing the hell out of Mexico because we have the best tariffs. No tariffs like we've ever seen. So even the Mexican government's like, look, he's doing Tigre's doing this on his own. Like, he's doing this without our consent, and we don't condone his actions either. But at the same time, we're not going to stop him. So And then Star's like, well, at least someone's putting up a fight. Maybe we can go meet this El Tigre guy and hang out with him. He's like, and Marco's like, no, it's too big. So the next day, Marco's on his way back from he had a day at school. He's going back, and he's like kind of thinking about everything that him and Star talked about. And in that moment, Inferno like pulls him over. He's like, hey, where's your where's your ID or something? And Marco's like, I have ID. He's like, gun! And in that moment, like a clawed hand comes shooting out, grabs the gun, pulls it out, and El Tigre's here, beats the shit out of these Inferno agents, even like grabbing one guy and just slamming his head repeatedly with the armored vehicle door, before ripping it open and letting out the other prisoners they had. And Marco's like, holy shit! Man, you thanks for the save, but you're El Tigre, right? And he's like, yeah, I am. And you are welcome. And he's like, yeah, but now they're gonna aren't you scared they're coming after you? He's like, yeah, but let me show you something. And Marco's even asked, like, why are you even doing this, dude? Like, you're gonna they're gonna shoot and kill you. And he's like, and El Tigre's like, look, man, I didn't want to get involved in this. It wasn't even my country, but seeing on the news of what they're doing to people, disappearing men, women, children, and even my father didn't want to do anything. My father said it wasn't our business, it was the government's problem. So I took it upon myself because it's what he would do. And he's like, oh, your dad? He's like, no. And he's like, were you born here, dude? He's like, yeah, I was born in California. He's like, then you should know who I'm talking about. And he's like, no? He's like, Zorro, dude. I asked myself, what would Zorro do? And he's like, and Marco's like, holy shit, Zorro? Zorro's been dead for over 100 years, man. What does that even mean? He's like, Zorro was a superhero. Zorro was a hero, dude, and he would not have put I asked myself, what would Zorro do in this situation? So that's why I came here to fight. And it seems like to me you want to be, you seem more of the camp of, if it doesn't bother me, then why should it matter? But seems to me like the fight's coming to you no matter what. I hope to see on the right side of all this. So El Tigre takes off, and Marco's kind of left in the moment of, holy shit, he's right. I was turning a blind eye. I've been literally fighting tyranny in Muni, and I bitch out here. Nah, man. So what would Zorro do? So Marco returns home already full of vigor, and that's when he finds out Inferno agents have broken into his house and taken away his parents, and even took Star because she wasn't a registered citizen. So the neighbors tell him, and now Marco's like, oh yeah, now I'm really in the fight. So Marco is like, well, I can't go, I've got to, he pulls out a bunch of human weapons and whatnot, but at the same time he's like, I can't just go in there, they're gonna kill, they're gonna see my face and they're gonna come after me. And in that moment he's like, what would Zorro do? Zorro would fight. So Marco literally dons his own Zorro costume. But the thing is he looks in the mirror at the all-black costume and he's like, no, I'm not ready for this. And also, if I don't feel worthy enough to be Zorro. To be this version of Zorro. So what he does is literally change his costume to an all-white costume and calling himself El Zorro Blanco, the White Fox. So Marco gets a sword, whip, and even goes for one more thing. He goes to Muni to pick up a Warnicorn, all-black Warnicorn, and he goes, so this is Tornado. So Marco then rides to the near, first thing he has to do is find Manny. So he basically puts a Z out in the he bat signals it up, and he's like, yeah. Not only am I trying to contact El Tigre, I'm also letting everyone know there's a new Zorro. So Marco then, El Tigre finds him after seeing the Z in the sky, and El Tigre's like, so, took my advice a little too hard. And he's like, no, I'm Zorro. He's like, dude, you're the kid I met, when I saved you the other day. I know it's you, man. I didn't think you would go full Zorro. And also, why the white? And he's like, I got a reason. but right now I need your help because there's a facility that, my parents and my girlfriend have been taken to. Can you help me break them out? So Marco and El Tigre team up. They go to this facility, and they immediately break in. And as they're fighting their way through guards, one of the guards goes, this punk thinks he's Zorro. What? But Zorro wears all black, kid. Why do you wear white? And he goes, why do I wear the white? So you can see me coming. And Marco just tanks his way through all of these other soldiers, just whips one guy in the face, cleaves off half of his jaw with the whip, takes his sword, puts it through another guy, and if this was a comic or a show, he'd have like an inner monologue saying like, I know these guys are, have families, they have loved ones at home, they probably think this, some of them even think this is a job or hate themselves. But you know what? Fuck them. They chose this. They're going to earn these are the consequences. So Marco's just like, I'm going to make sure tonight they're going to regret this choice. So him and Tigre are just breaking every bone they find. Even one guy drops his gun. He's like, I just did it for the pension, man. I didn't know they were doing this. And Marco's just like, you knew, you didn't care. And then proceeds to just shatter this guy's rib, takes a folding chair and just smashes it against the guy's ribs repeatedly, then grabs him by the head and just slams him into the wall until he's just all bloodied and tosses him aside. So then they proceed to go through the prison, cutting loose every prisoner until they find Marco's parents and Star, and they're like, holy crap, Marco? And he's like, Zorro, just call me Zorro, please. I'm this is a new thing. So they get out, but at that point, Inferno agents have think they've caught the new Zorro and El Tigre, so they've sent a whole legion of soldiers with their director in charge, and he's like, all right, listen up. You're, as far as I'm concerned, you're all international terrorists. You're all going to get killed. And that's when Tigre's like, I'm not bothered. See, I had another reason why I'm doing this in the country, because I needed a wake-up call. And he's like, wake-up call for who? There's no one who's going to back you. And that's when Tigre's like, oh, no, I knew, you guys would be totally down with, acts of just absolute inhumanity. But not everyone. See, Inferno's kind of a proper name for you fuckers. Because you lit a fire without even realizing it. And sure enough, they're just protesters and whatnot, all armed with weapons, all kinds of shit. And on top of that, they're like, well, we're still better armed and we can take them all. And Marco's like, sure about that, because I think Tigre called some other people. And sure enough, down comes Danny Phantom, Kim Possible, Randy Cunningham, Star's got her wand again, Jake Long, the Gargoyles, all these different superheroes start coming down, and they're just like, please. And they're like, what, you think you can fight the government? And they're like, here's the thing you guys, you dictators never really grasp. In the face of autocracy, you forget one thing. You guys are bullies, and that only applies when you think you can make us think that there's more of us than there are of you. So, yeah, you can win this. You ain't going to win the next fight. And, yeah. So they back down, and Inferno, the next day, the administration was like, it was not a good... Look, I never liked it. We had the best immigrants ever, I tell you what. So, Inferno gets dismantled, everyone gets released, and Marco is like, yeah, I think I can roll with being Zorro. And El Tigre's like, yeah, I think it's possible, but you got some work to do. But El Tigre and Marco part ways. The day is saved. There you go. So there you go, guys. That is the three-way crossover. Not what you're expecting, I'm sure, but hey, whatever. Anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below what you guys thought of this. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed it. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.